I recently went to a friend's for dinner, and as we were coming in the door, we knew for a fact that dinner was going to be awesome. We already had some smoked ham, and we were bringing our mashed bananas and gravy. And as we walked in the front door, there, right inside the front entryway, was their pet squirrel, and it was just barking its fool head off. As you're letting some of that sink in, you're thinking to yourself, mashed bananas and gravy? Did he really say bananas? Mashed bananas and gravy? That sounds disgusting. But some of you are still thinking, who has a pet squirrel and why does it bark? I mean, a chihuahua, perhaps. But a pet squirrel? And do they really bark? See, the reality is right behind that, everything else I've said is lost. Not only is it lost because your brain is moving at 40 million bytes a second trying to process the ideas and go, that it doesn't even make any sense to me. But you're also wondering if I'm out of touch with reality. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and I want you to know that cognitive dissonance, that another way to see it is congruity. That congruency that we have in our own life that says, what I've said to you today is evidenced in what I've done in the past. If I say that I am a good husband and a good father, and you look back and I have a string of divorces and children scattered all over the world, and I don't even know who half of them are, then being a good husband and a good father is probably not very congruent with the life that I've lived up to this point. Meaning I haven't really proved that I'm an expert in what I claim that I'm an expert in, and that can be a problem. If I go to see my surgeon and he has grease under his fingernails because he's been working on his own car, I'm a little concerned. Is he not a good enough surgeon to have the money to pay somebody to work on his car? Or is he not smart enough to know how to get the grease out from under his fingernails after working on his car? Because either one of those is a problem for the guy who's about to do surgery on me or the gal who's about to do surgery on me. And so it's congruency that matters. Does what this individual is saying right now measure up to all the things that they've actually done in the past? Is there evidence to what they're telling me now? One other aspect of that incongruency is a word called cognitive dissonance, meaning what I hear, what I see, what I've experienced in the past as reality doesn't line up with what I'm hearing you say right now. What I hear you say right now, it doesn't really make any sense. And so there's a very fine line between faith, meaning the substance of things hoped for and not yet seen, and fantasy, which is completely discombobulated with reality. Fantasy can literally be anything. You can make up anything you want. It has to have no base in reality in order for it to be fantasy. Perhaps a barking cat or a meowing dog or even an English-speaking raccoon who flies a spaceship and saves the world. It's cool, right? But is it reality? No, it's fantasy. Because to the best of history's evidence thus far, we haven't seen any spaceships flown by English-speaking raccoons. So that has some incongruity, some cognitive dissonance in our way of communicating. The challenge for a lot of leaders, when it comes to leading a team, leading a company into rocketing success, is that they lose touch with reality. They have this vision of where they want to go with business, where they want to go with their clientele, how they want to achieve success. And the truth of the matter is, there is no evidence in their past to say that I have the skill set, that I've mastered this process, that I understand the strategies and the tactics necessary. To look at their life, the evidence doesn't prove that they can actually pull this off. They never have before, not even come close. At that point, you have to ask the question, am I following a visionary or a fantasy writer? Now, perhaps you look at the skills that they have and you say, I could see them becoming a world superstar as a singer, or a number one contender in boxing or a superstar in sports. I can see that happening because they've got all the skill sets. They've got the raw talent. It's possible. It can happen. Now to follow that person when they say, I'm going to do this or I'm going to accomplish this, that's not fantasy, that's faith. Because the evidence of the past tells you that the skill sets and the processes are there. It also tells you that the potentiality or the possibilities in the universe, they exist too. Because people in the past have and always will be able to become world-class superstars or world-class recording artists or world-class business leaders. See, there's nothing in the continuum as we know it now that says it's not possible for a young African American born on another state or maybe even another continent to become the president of the United States. It's been done. There's evidence that it can happen. And there's no reason for a young African American male or female to believe I could never be president. That's like a talking raccoon. No, that's not true. It's not fantasy. And it's not cognitive dissonance. And it's not incongruent because it has happened. Leaders struggle when their ideas of the future for themselves or their organization or the people that are following them look back at the evidence and don't see any. They look forward at the possibilities, and there's no possibility, given the current skill set, that it could happen. I challenge you as leaders, every story that comes out of your mouth every day of the week, you're either building credibility, know, like, and trust, because the stories you tell are based on the evidence of things that have been seen and the substance of things not yet seen, but there's a congruent path between them. Or you're building distrust, disloyalty, and a lack of confidence by telling stories that are more based in fantasy than they are in fact or faith. I challenge you to be honest with where you are and look for the systems, the strategies, the tactics, and the processes to make those possibilities of the future become a reality. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.